Yo, what is going on guys? It's Ant and welcome back to the channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be trying to beat a Pokemon Violet Hardcore Nuzlocke whilst also playing Shiny only. And this time it's actually properly Shiny only as well, not kinda. So, yeah, I'm very happy with what we've made here. Also guys, we're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and there might be a slight little wager on there as well that I really want to win with one of my friends. I say I'm going to hit 5,000 subscribers, he says I can't, so I would really like to win this. So guys, if you are new here and find yourself enjoying the content and would like to see more videos just like this, make sure you do smash that big red button because I would love for you to stick around for future uploads. And yeah, with all that said, let's finally go get back into things. So we begin the run by picking Sprigatito as our starter. I went with this one because I got kind of clowned the way I was pronouncing Fuecoco. However, it's said yeah in the last one, so we went with this time. And what happens is, we go pick our starter and we have to go get into a little fight with Nemona straight away. So we go get into this against a Quaxly and we go for 2 Leafages, and that'll be enough to take down the Quaxly and win the fight. This one couldn't be done shiny only because the starter can't be shiny, so I'm just going to go get myself through this and then we can actually start shiny hunting. And after looking around for a while on Poco Path, I end up finding this. A shiny Lechonk that I go catch instantly. We go get into a couple cutscenes with Miraidon, and after looking around for quite a while, I also find myself a shiny Fletchling, so I go and capture this up too. And with these 2 Pokemon, I think it's finally time to go take on Nemona so we can go get into Mesagoza City. So Nemona here starts off with a Quaxly and we're hitting this with Lechonk's echoed voice, and we go for it twice and take this down. Next up, she ends up bringing out her Pawmi, and she terrestrializes it as well. What she does is then she goes for a Thunder Shock, and it does hit Lechonk down into 1 shot. I go for an echoed voice, and it does quite a lot of damage to Pawmi as well, but now I am going to have to switch. So I do make this switch here over into Fletchling, knowing that I am going to go into an electric type attack, but I had a feeling it was going to survive, so we go in. And on the next turn here, because of its low life, we can go for a quick attack, take down the Pawmi, and that's how we win the fight. After this now, I can finally start going into more of the open world. I end up finding myself a shiny Mankey as well, so we go capture this up. And during all of this as well, I'm doing a bit of wonder trading on the side because I want to see if someone might send me something like a Japanese Ditto that would really help me, because I would start breeding my starter if I could. After some more trading my free Pokemon though, I do decide that I am going to go take on Katie, the first gym leader of the run, and she's a bug type gym leader. So what happens here is, I go lead my Fletchling, we go for 2 pecks on the Nimble and we take this down. She then sends out another Pokemon on the next turn, and it's going to be a Taro and Tula, so we go take this down with 2 pecks as well. And then next up she's going to send out a Teddiursa, which will terrestrialize into a bug type. We hit this with a peck and it does about a 3rd damage, and we get hit by Fury Swipes, and I was kind of worried here because I thought it's possible we're going to lose our Fletchling, but thankfully it only hits 3 times. I instantly switch after, going straight over into my Mankey. And it starts going for Fury Cutter as well, a bug type move where every turn that it's used consecutively, it's going to do more damage. And we're just having to spam Seismic Toss at the moment. Now luckily Fury Cutter actually misses, so that really helps us. We can get through this fight now with another 2 more Seismic Tosses. Because of that, without any risk, we take down Teddiursa, and that's the first gym leader defeated. So we defeated the Quartondo gym, and we can move on. From here then, whilst looking around, I actually end up also finding myself a Mareep as well, which is really cool. I go capture this up, and from here that Mareep will pretty much instantly evolve into a Flaffy. What I decide I'm going to do is, before I start going anywhere else, I'm going to start doing my training on specific Pokemon. So right now I'm beating up only Shinxes, and this is to try and go get myself some attack EVs in both my Mankey and my Fletchling. And whilst doing this training, Fletchling does go and evolve into a Fletchlinder. From here then, we're up against Gym Leader Brassius, the 2nd gym leader of the run, and he starts off by sending out a Petilil. I send straight out my new Fletchinder, and I'm going to start off with a Flame Charge on the Petilil. It's going to put it down into very low life, and it's also going to raise our speed too. We go get hit by a Mega Drain. It does not do much at all. And we go and take this down with a quick attack on the next turn. Next up then, he sends out a Smoliv, and this will also go down to a 1 hit from Flame Charge. So now we're down to his last Pokemon. So what I decide I'm going to do here is, I am going to terrestrialize into my Fletchinder's normal Terra type, because what he's going to do is he's also going to terrestrialize into a grass type Sudowoodo that also does no rock moves, which before was double super effective against me. So I just didn't want to take the risk of getting hit by that. We hit this with a flame charge because it's now super effective. It does about a third of its life, and he does go for that rock throw I was talking about, which actually crits us as well. So we're quite semi-low life. We hit another flame charge, put him down into one shot, and this is crazy here because he does hit back with a Trailblaze, and what has basically happened is he's double crit us in a row, but thankfully we do survive on 1 HP, one of those epic Nuzlocke moments. We went for a flame charge, took down the Sudowoodo, and that is the second gym leader of the run defeated. From here I also decide I'm going to go take down the Titan Claw, and all it's really going to take is 2 hits from a low kick, and this here will be enough to go take down the Claw and get into the second part of the fight. In the second part of the fight here, me and Arvin are going to team together to try and take down the Claw. And Arvin in these fights ain't very helpful, let's just put it that way. We're staying with our Mankey, and he's also sent out his shoulder as well. And I'm going to go for a seismic toss to begin with, because the last thing I want to do is go put this into Anger Shell like I did in the last fight and risk him getting some power-ups, which could be very scary. So we go for this. He does hit us with a Rock Tomb as well. Shoulder here goes for a Leer. It's not too helpful. We're going to get hit by a Vice Grip. We put down into middle life pretty much. Go for that low kick, and now I'm praying that Shoulder goes for a Water Gun, because we're definitely going to need some help now that Anger Shell is activated. I thought after the Leer, the low kick, I thought I'd maybe one shot. Now we're going to be in some trouble, but Shoulder does actually go for a Water Gun this turn as well, so that's definitely very helpful. We take down Claw without any issue. With Claw out of the way, I then go all the way up to the Bombardier Titan, because I plan to take this down now too. So we go get into the fight, and we go for 3 Thunder Shocks and take down the Bombardier. And then in the rematch after this, it hits us again with its 4th wing attack, because it is faster than us, but we do paralyze it now, which is even better. It's doing around about 10 to 11 damage every time. Nacli goes for a rock throw now and puts it down into midlife. And on this turn, I'm thinking to myself, we're going to go take this down. So we go for the Thunder Shock. Bombardier is still a little bit faster than Nacli and goes for a wing attack. And it actually critical hits us as well, so that's not fun. Nacli then goes for a smackdown, takes down a Bombardier. So we win the fight, but it comes at the cost of our first death of the run. What I want to do before I go get into the third gym fight, I want to do a bit more training. We go beat up this Magnemite using a few Corvettes. And now Lechonk goes and evolves into its evolution. And whilst also around in this little area, I find a brand new Pokemon as well, which is a shiny Tadbot. It was very hard to see, but I managed to find it somehow. From here, we go back to where we was just before at the Bombardier Titan, and we go collect ourselves a Thunderstone, which will evolve our Tadbulb into a Bellibolt. Next up after this, I decide it's finally time to go fight the third gym leader, but before I can, I also have to go get into another fight with Nemona. So we're going to start off with Bellibolt, and we're versing up against her Rockruff. And we're just spamming Thunder Shocks at the moment, eventually taking this down with a couple hits. Next up, she sends out Pawmi. It's going for Dig, so I do make the switch over into my Fletchinder, and we dodge a Dig. And then on the next turn, I'm also going to terrestrialize as well into my normal Terra type before hitting this with a Flame Charge, knocking it down into one shot. And then also getting paralyzed by Static. It goes for Nuzzle as well, which would have been super effective before, and it also would have paralyzed us anyway, so it's fine. Our Flame Body also activates on the Pawmi too, so now he's burnt. And on this next turn now, I'm going to go for another Flame Charge because I'm quicker, and we're going to go take this down. Now, because I chose Sprigatito in this run, Nemona has the Water type starter, and she's going to go terrestrialize this as well, as I suddenly make a hard switch back over into Light. It goes for Work Up to begin with as well, so this is going to boost its attack and special attack, but it should be fine because it's going to hit us. It's going to activate our ability, and now when we go for Thunder Shock, this will have enough power to take down the rest of its HP. And with that done, we defeat Nemona. With Nemona defeated, we go get into the fight against Iono, the third gym leader of the run. And I'm going to go lead my Chonky here. Now what I'm basically going for to begin off with is Echoed Voice, because every time I use it, it gets more powerful. After using it for 3 times to take down the Wattrel, we're up against the Bellibolt. And on the 4th one, we don't even do midlife. We take a Spark and we get put down into one shot. So now I've got to go switch because we also get paralyzed, and that could mean that Belly Bolt is now faster than us. So I gotta make this switch here over into my own Belly Bolt, and we take another spark. Now this spark here is going to activate our effect, and I'm actually not going to use no electric attacks just yet. I'm just going to keep spamming Mud Slap while he continues to charge up my effect. Next up here, he sends out a Luxio. Luxio is hitting me with Bite. And I do continue to go for Mud Shot as well because I know it's going to do a lot of damage. Before I go finish him off with a Water Gun. After this now, Iona is going to send out her last Pokemon, which is a Terra-type Electric Miss Magius. And Miss Magius also comes with the ability Levitate as well. So I know not to go for Mud Shot anymore. And this way it's going to start being a little tough as well because of my moveset. It's also trying to hit me with Confuse Rays as well to try and ruin my turns. And I was having a bit of trouble with this as well. I actually end up hitting myself in confusion like 3 times in a row. So what I do from here is I go and terrestrialize myself as well. And Miss Magius of course continues to spam Confuse Ray on us. Starting to look like it's getting a bit tough on our HP as well. But thankfully we do manage to get past this. And we go for a Thunder Shock from here. Thunder Shock, after being charged many times, did put Miss Magius onto low life before. And on this one we can use this and take it down and win the fight, defeating Iono for the 3rd gym badge. Nothing really too major happens until I get all the way down into Cascarafa, and I have to go get into a fight with Gym Leader Kofu, the next gym leader of the run. Now he's a water type gym leader, so this should be a lot more easy for me. I start off with Belly Bolt, we take an Aqua Cutter, it charges our ability, and from here I'm going to go for a Thunderbolt, and this will take down the Veluza with a one-shot. His next Pokemon then is a Wugtrio. Wugtrio hits us with Headbutt. He actually did flinch us a couple times as well with that Headbutt until I used a Slack Off. Take another Headbutt, and we finally do manage to get past the flinch and take this down with a Thunderbolt. Now lastly, we're up against his Crabominal. He goes and terrestrializes this. We dodge his Crab Hammer, and we respond with a Thunderbolt, and that will also one-shot the Crabominal. And with this done, that is Gym Leader Kofu defeated for the 4th gym badge of the run. With some more training now, I go level everybody up, and Mankey hits level 28 as well, which means it can now go and evolve into a Primate. Now my training won't stop just yet. I continue to train myself until we hit level 35, and at level 35 here, our Fletchinde goes and evolves into a Talonflame. And it still weren't where we was going to end training as well, because after doing some more training, Primeape also hits level 35, and we go and drop Seismic Toss for Rage Fist. At the moment, we have a level cap of level 36, so what I do is I go back to the route I was in earlier, fighting the Shinx for some attack EVs, using this Rage Fist, because after we use it 20 times and we level up, it will make Primeape evolve. So we go do this, and we go level up the Primeape to level 36, and he evolves into his new form, Annihilate. With our new Annihilate, we head into the 5th gym of the run against Gym Leader Larry, the normal type gym leader, and he's going to start off with Kamala. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start off with our Annihilate. He's going to hit us with a Sucker Punch, and we're going to go hit this with a Cross Chop and take it down. Next up, he also then sends out a Dunsparce, and we also go hit this with a Cross Chop too, take this down, and now we're down to his last Pokemon, which is Staraptor. He hits us with an Intimidate, so now we're going to have lost a lot of attack. So we do make a switch here as well, and I go switch over into my Belly Bolt. Now what Larry does here is he goes and terrestrializes Staraptor into a Terra normal type, and he also goes and hits us with a flying type attack because it would have been super effective on Annihilate. So Light here goes and gets his ability activated, and then on the next turn as well he's also going to hit us with another move which is going to also further extend our ability's power. And then right now we go and return a Thunderbolt that has been charged up, and we go take this down with a one shot and win the fight. With this fight done, we have to fight Nemona again outside of the gym. She's going to start off with her Lycanroc, and I'm going to start off with Annihilate again. We take a Bite to begin with, and then we go respond to this with a Cross Chop and take down the Lycanroc. I then terrestrialize my Primeape into a Terra Fighting type, as she sent out her Goomy to go for another Cross Chop on this, and we take this down with a one shot too. Hormo comes after, and we go for a Cross Chop, which actually does miss unfortunately, and we take a Thunder Wave, so that's going to pain us a tiny bit. So we take this Spark, it doesn't do way too much, and we finally do hit the Cross Chop as well. And with this getting hit, we can take down the Hormo, And now we're up against her last Pokemon, which is Quaquaval. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch my Annihilate out because of a paralysis and switch over into Belly Bolt. Nemona terrestrializes Quaquaval and it's going to go hit us with Aqua Step as well. So we take the damage from that, and it actually does quite a bit as well. This does charge our Electromorphous. And we've also got leftovers as well, which does help us recover somewhat before we go take another Aqua Step, get our ability charge for a second time in this battle, and then go finish this off with a one-shot from Thunderbolt. And with this done, that's how we go defeat Nemona again. From here, then I start doing some more searching around, and we actually end up finding ourselves a shiny Impidimp as well. Now, what happens with this is it pretty much almost instantly evolves over into a Morgrem. And with some more training as well on the side, Morgrem does go and hit level 42. And from here we can go evolve this into a Grimmsnarl. With Grimmsnarl in our team, we go get into the fight with Gym Leader Rhyme, the 6th Gym Leader of the run. And we start off with Grimmsnarl and we start off with Belly Bolt for the double battle. So what I decide I'm going to do to begin the fight is, I'm going to go double up on the Mimikyu. We do take a Sucker Punch and a Slash. But when I do hit the Mimikyu, I go and break its disguise with the first hit. And then I go finish it off with a Thunderbolt straight after. So that takes down their first Pokemon. Secondly, now we're also going to go start switching up a little, and we go hit a False Surrender on the Houndstone, which will take us down with a one-shot. Because of our ability getting charged up, when we go for our Thunderbolt here, this will also take down the Bayonet with a one-shot. And now we're all the way down to Rhyme's last Pokemon. So they're going to terrestrialize their Toxtricity into a Terra Ghost type. And that's fine because it's going to go for a Discharge. It's not going to do too much damage. It does paralyze Grimmsnarl, but that is still fine because it charges our ability on Belly Bolt as well. And we go for this Thunderbolt here on the Toxtricity, and we go take this down with a one-shot. And with that done, that's Rhyme defeated for the 6th gym badge of the run. And with that done again, we have to go get into another fight with Nemona. This is all the way down outside the 7th gym. We start off with Grimmsnarl up against her Lycanroc. And I'm going to make a switch to begin with from Grimmsnarl over into Annihilate. And Nemona goes for a Sand Attack, which is pretty annoying actually. So I do go and make another switch as well straight after. Because the move that we're relying on still at the moment is Cross Chop, which is 80% accurate. And we've been Sand Attack, which is going to make it even worse. And Lycanroc continues to just spam Sand Attack, which is pretty annoying, so I do go make another switch again. And the switch that I make is straight back over into Annihilate. And what Nemona goes for here is a Rock Slide, which we avoid. And now we can finally go for an attack without having yet lost any of our stats. We take a Crunch. It does make our defense drop, but at least it's not accuracy. Also, we do have close combat for this fight, so we go for the close combat, go take down the Lycanroc. On the next turn, we also go close combat and take down the Sliggoo. And from here against a I do go and decide I'm going to make a switch, and a switch here over into Light. Pormo goes for a Spark, it does 20 damage and also charges up our ability. We also get some leftover recovery straight after as well, so it's going to be very nice for us. We take another Spark, does 18 damage, charges our ability once again. And what I decide is I'm actually going to continue to spam to take this down with Water Gun. And what I've been doing over the last bunch of times is hitting Water Gun, because that way when a Pokemon that we want to hit with Thunderbolt comes out, we're going to do even more damage, because Pormok comes with Volt Absorb, so we don't want to hit it with that. She sends out her Quaquaval, and she's also going to terrestrialize this. And then she goes and hits me with an Aqua Step. And then on the same turn, after all these boosts, I'm going to go and return this Thunderbolt onto Quaquaval. We're going to take this down with a one-shot once again and defeat Nemona once again. With Nemona defeated, we go get into the 6th gym leader of the run, which is Gym Leader Tulip. So she's going to start off with Farigiraf, and I'm going to start off with my Grimmsnarl. On the first turn is set up a light screen. I do this to protect myself from special attacking moves that a lot of our Pokemon in our team knows. Grimmsnarl is also holding the item Light Play, so instead of Light Screen staying up for 5 turns, it's going to stay up for 8. Next after this comes out her Gardevoir. It's going to hit us with Dazzling Gleam, which is super effective, so we take quite a bit of damage still, even though we've got a Light Screen up. Hit with a False Surrender and put it down into one shot. And then we're also going to go finish this off with Sucker Punch on the next turn. With Gardevoir down, she sends out Esperanza, which goes for a quick attack. We try Sucker Punch to begin with, but we notice that it only wants to go for quick attacks. So we let it hit us a second time. We go for a False Surrender and take this down. And now we're lastly up against our last Pokemon, Florges. And what she's going to do is she's going to go terrestrialize this. into a Terra Psychic type. And it's going to go for a Moonblast on us as well, which we do survive on quite low HP. From here, I'm going to go for a False Surrender. We're going to take it down with a one-shot. And that's how we go and defeat Tulip, the 6th gym leader of the run. Not really much happens between defeating Tulip and going up to the 8th gym leader of the run as well, Grusha. We're just going to do a tiny bit of training, we go straight there after the fight. And what Grusha's going to do is they're going to lead Frostmoth on the first turn. I'm here with Annihilate, and I'm going to go hit this with a Shadow Punch, which is going to knock it down into one shot. It goes for a Blizzard that we luckily do avoid because it has quite a good chance to freeze us. And we go for another Shadow Punch, and from here we can go take this down. Next up then, Grusha decides they're going to go send out Beartick. Beartick is nothing to worry about, we're a lot faster, we're going to go for a close combat, and we're going to go take this down with a one shot. We're then going to terrestrialize our Annihilate into a pure fighting type, and we're also going to go for another close combat as well and take down this Titan. Now it's the Titan defeated, we're down to Grusha's last Pokemon, which is an Altaria. And what he decides to do is he's going to go and terrestrialize this Altaria into a Terra Ice type, and we're going to go smack this with a close combat. It's now super effective, and this close combat's going to one-shot his Altaria and win us the fight. With Gym Leader Grusha defeated, we defeated our 8th Gym Leader, and we have finally completed all the gyms of the run. With all the gyms in the run defeated, I'm now going to start doing some of the other side activities by taking on Team Star, and I'm also going to start finishing off the rest of the Titans as well. So we go get into the first fight with Mela, and we're just going to go take down a Torkoal by using a couple moves. We end up taking down the Reveroom as well. And this is going to continue as well. We go get up against the Navi Starmobile in another one of Team Star's bases, and we go take this down with a couple moves too. Followed by the second Starmobile. And we take a little break from that now because we're going to go and start looking around for some more Pokemon. And we actually end up finding a shiny Marill in a Azumarill Outbreak. So we go capture this. And then we go travel back into helping Arven again by taking on Iron Tread's Quaking Earth Titan. So we're going to go and hit this with a Liquidation. And that will put this down into one shot where we take another knockoff and can go finish this off. But that isn't this fight finished, because after you beat the Titan the first time, it's going to go get away for a bit, and we're going to go get into another fight with it after it eats some Herba Mystica. And somehow Arven decides that he actually wants to go for a Fire Fang here, take down Iron Treads. So we actually do end up getting through this fight with some very rare help from Arven. So after beating this, we go ahead all the way over to the Offworm Titan, and just before we get there, Marill goes and evolves into an Azumarill, and now it's time for the Offworm Titan. Now basically I'm going to do the exact same thing what I did last time, go hit with a Surf, and this will be enough to knock it down quite a bit of life. I go for another Surf on the next turn, we go knock it into very low life, and also take down Toadstool because it's not helping anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Offworm does go and hit itself with Confusion here, so we take no damage anyway, and we go finish it off with Surf on the next turn. And with all these done, we go get ourselves up against Dondozo, the False Dragon Titan. And with Dondozo, we go hit this with a Water Gun. It was actually a bit of Stick Drift there, so luckily that never happened in too much of a serious battle. I go fix this mistake on the next turn by taking this Water Pulse and then hitting it with a Thunderbolt, which will take down the rest of its HP. With this done, Dondozo goes and swims away. We chase it all the way to the point where it goes to this cutscene. And basically we have to go get into another fight against Dondozo, the False Dragon Titan. We go Terrestrialize, let him use the Water Pulse on the Greedon, and then we're going to go hit him with a Thunderbolt, which puts him down into one shot. Arven, not helping as usual, goes for a Tail Whip. So we take an Aqua Tail this turn, our ability gets charged, and we go hit this with the Thunderbolt, and this will be enough to take down Dondozo, the False Dragon Titan. This isn't all though, because now we've also got to go get into a fight with Tatsugiri, and Tatsugiri here is a Water Dragon type, so Thunderbolt is no longer super effective. We do get hit by an Icy Wind that does charge our ability though, so we can go for a Thunderbolt, which will do quite a bit of damage still. It won't do way too much, and Greedon decides he wants to be a bit more useful this fight and goes for a takedown, and we're just going to continue with this. Tatsugiri goes for a Taunt, actually forcing Arven to use a couple moves to help me out. I'll go for another Thunderbolt. He takes another takedown, goes even lower, And now it's on this turn where we can finally do enough damage to take him down. I take a Dragon Pulse from the Tatsugiri, which does quite a lot of damage to us. And we go hit this with a Thunderbolt as well, and that'll be enough to take this down and win the fight. With that done now, I've leveled up quite a bit more again, so I can finally go get back into my last fight with Team Star. So what we got to do is we got to beat up basically 30 Pokemon before the 10 minutes are over. And by the time we get through them all now, after almost 2.5 minutes, we are going to go get into our last fight with the Team Star base leaders. So this is the boss of Team Star's fighting crew, Eri. And she's going to start off with a Toxicroak to begin with. I start off with Annihilate. Take 2 Sucker Punches, but on every turn I've also hit this with a Stomping Tantrum. And we go take this Toxicroak down. Next after this, she sends out her next Pokemon, which is an Annihilate of her own. And I'll go make a switch here over into my Azumarill before taking a hit from her Rage Fist attack. It's also going to hit us with another Rage Fist as well, as we put it down into low life because they're getting burnt. 2 Play Roughs will be enough to take down this Annihilate though. And then she goes and sends out Passimian. So I gotta make a switch here from the Azumarill over into my Talonflame. We take a close combat, which does quite a bit of damage, but we do also burn Passimian. And from here on the next turn, we're gonna go for an Acrobatics. And that'll be enough to take this down and get through to our next Pokemon. Next thing she sends out is a Lucario. So I'll go make the switch here from Talonflame over into Bellibolt. And we're gonna go get hit by a Dragon Pulse, which ain't going to do too much, and it's also going to charge our ability. With this then on the next turn, we're also hit with an Aura Sphere, and we're going to reply to this with a Thunderbolt and take down the Lucario. After this then, she sends out her Reverie. It goes for a high horsepower, which does quite a bit of damage and puts us into low life. I'm going to go hit this with a Thunderbolt, but now I know that I'm forced to switch. Because of the moves that it's using as well, I go switch back over into my Talonflame so I can go dodge another high horsepower. And it decides that it wants to go for a shift gear as well. Now this ain't going to make things too easy for me because of this shift gear and the shift gear on the next turn. Its speed and attacks being raised by a lot, and we do go and knock this down into one shot. Stamina as well is also not helping because it's raising its defense. And I'm a bit worried about what I'm going to do next here, because I'm thinking it may have the attack to kill me. We stay in, we take the Combat Talk, which puts me down into orange life, and we go finish this off with an Acrobatics. And with that done, that's all of the Team Star bases finally defeated. But it's not Team Star fully defeated, because now we have to go fight the boss. But before we can go fight the boss, we also have to go fight Director Clavel, who is trying to pretend he is the boss of Team Star. So we have to go get into this fight before we can get through to actually meeting the real Team Star boss. So they're going to start off with Oranguru on the first turn. I'm going to start off with my Grimmsnarl, and I'm going to go for a false surrender and put it onto very low life. He's also going to hit me with a Yawn here, so to prevent myself from falling asleep, I make a switch here over into my Chonky. Chonky here takes a Foul Play, and from here I'm going to go for the move Covet, and we're going to go take down Oranguru. Next up then comes out Abomasnow, and I'm going to go hit this with a Yawn. Abomasnow sets up Aurora Veil, and I'm going to start going for some Echoed Voices because, again, every time I use this, it gets more and more powerful every time. He hits me with a Wood Hammer though, and that puts me into very low life. And now that I've also put him to sleep because of Yawn, I don't want to waste these turns. So what I do is I end up switching Chonky and going over into my Talonflame. And Talonflame here goes for an Acrobatics, which actually doesn't do way too much because of the Aurora Veil. Now Abomasnow is still fast asleep, we go for another Acrobatics, and this one actually critical hits as well, so it does help us take down the Abomasnow. Next up he sends out a Gyarados, and Gyarados here is going to give us an Intimidate attack drop, so I'm forced to switch once again. And my switch here is over into Annihilate. He goes for a Stone Edge and it also misses. And then from here I'm going to start going for some Shadow Punches. So the first one puts it down to like 2/3. I go for a second Shadow Punch there and it puts it down into 1/3 HP. Its Aqua Tail puts me into very low life, but I know I can kill this with Shadow Punch, so I go take this down. Next up he sends out Poltergeist, and I can also take this down with another Shadow Punch as well because I know I'm faster. So I go for Shadow Punch here and take down the Poltergeist. And then next up he sends out an Amoonguss, so I'm going to go make another switch here, back over it into my Talonflame. He's going to hit Talonflame with Hex, which won't do too much damage. And then on this next turn I'm going to go for an Acrobatics, and that will take down the Amoonguss. We also get hit by Effect Spore there, which puts us under Paralysis. So So that's not going to help us too much, and it means that we're going to have to be forced to switch out on this turn. So he sends out Skeledirge, and now we're going to go make the switch over into our Grimmsnarl. So I switch this out, bring in Grimmsnarl. He's then going to Terrestrialize into a Fire Terror type Skeledirge. And he's going to go for a Shadow Ball as well, which is not very effective, so it won't do too much damage. From here, then I set up a Light Screen because this is a special attacker, and I know that it's going to start going for Torch Song now, where its special attack is going to boost every turn. So from here, after that Torch Song, I switch Grimmsnarl out and bring out my Azumarill. He goes for another Torch Song and goes and puts himself to +2 attack. Again, it doesn't really do way too much damage because it's not very effective. I'll go for Liquidation when I can finally hit, put him down into one shot, and then on his next turn now, he's going to go for another Torch Song, drop us down into low life, but that's okay because we're going to go finish him off with another Liquidation on this turn, and with that done, that's Director Clubal defeated. After this, we find out who the real leader of Team Star is, and that's Penny. So she's going to go send out Umbreon. We send out Grimmsnarl, and we're going to take a quick tap before going for a play rough on the Umbreon, putting him into low life. And now we're also going to go finish off the Umbreon on the next turn as well. So he hits us with another quick attack, and we go finish him off with a play rough. Next up then, Penny is going to send out Flareon. So with Flareon, I'm going to stay in for a turn, and it lowers our attack with its move. And then I'll go for a False Surrender and drop it down into just above half life. I decide again on staying in, and he goes and lowers our attack again with the same move. So this False Surrender is going to put it down into very low life though, so this is fine because I know that I'm still going to kill this on the next turn. I had a feeling it was going to try and attack that turn as well, so I did try to go for the Sucker Punch, but it hits us with another Baby Doll Eyes. And then now it finally decides it wants to hit, so it goes for a Flare Blitz, and it actually ends up fainting itself from the recoil. The next Pokemon Penny sends out is Vaporeon, and well, what we're going to do here is, because of Grimmsnarl's low life is, we're going to go make a switch over into Belly Bolt. And on the turn that we switch, we end up taking a Hydro Pump, which does a lot of damage to us as well. Belly Bolt gets a tiny bit of leftover recovery. And what I tried to do here is I tried to see if I can get Vaporeon to miss its Hydro Pump. Also, I know that Slack Off is going to end me up with more HP. So, I'm going to keep continuing this play. But we still keep getting hit by Hydro Pump every time. But overall, this still benefits us because we're getting more and more HP every turn. And on this turn now, I'm pretty much at full life. It goes for a Hydro Pump, and this is the one that actually misses as well, finally. And I'll go for a Thunderbolt, and that'll be enough to take down the Vaporeon and move on to the next Pokemon. The next Pokemon she sends in is Leafeon, and what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go make a switch here over into Talonflame. He takes a -4 effective Leaf Blade, also inflicting the Leafeon with a burn from its flame body. From here then I'm going to go for an Acrobatics as well, but this Baby Doll Eyes is being used once again, and that lowers my attack quite a lot, so we don't do as much damage as we should have. That's still fine though. I'm going to go for another Acrobatics this time, and this Acrobatics is enough to take down the Leafeon. Penny then sends out a Jolteon, and I'm going to make another switch. And the switch I'm going to make over this time is into Chonky, because Chonky has access to the move Dig, which is super effective against a Jolteon. So we send this in, we go for Dig, dodge the next Thunder, and come back up, putting it into very low life. Now the problem here is Jolteon is likely going to kill us, so I've got to go make another switch. Now the worry about Jolteon is it could also have the ability Volt Absorb, so we don't want to hit it with electric type attacks. So with this in mind, I still go switch over into Light, and I'm going to go finish this off with Water Gun. What's nice is as well, every time he hits us, we're getting a bit of a boost on our next electric type attack. We finally take this down with 2 water guns. And now we're up against our last Pokemon, which is a Sylveon. Penny also terrestrializes her Sylveon. And with this, I'm also going to terrestrialize Belly Bolt as well. She goes for a Moonblast on us. And it does actually put us into very low life. We've done some crazy damage. We've also been charged up 3 times since the last time we've used an electric type move. So we go for this Thunderbolt here, and we also do some big damage back to the Sylveon. Put it into very low life, but Belly Bolt can't stay in no longer now. What I decide on is that I'm going to go make the hard switch over into Talonflame, take the next Moonblast, which again does some massive damage for not being very effective. And from here, because we're faster, we're going to have to go for an Acrobatics and take this down. And with doing that, we take down a Sylveon and we defeat Penny. Now this was actually really lucky. I was just driving around on my Rhydon, and I ended up finding this shiny Rookie D. And I was still like kind of unsure at first, like, because it was just so surprising. But we go capture this up anyway. And we're also going to start doing a few picnics as well to teach some of our Pokemon some moves they can't learn otherwise. And with this done, we've finally done all our preparations for the Elite Four, and we go head into the first fight. For the first fight of the Elite Four, we're going up against Rika, and she's going to start off with a Whiscash. We start off with our Azumarill and instantly go for a Liquidation, which is going to put the Whiscash into low life. We take an Earth Power after, and then from here we go for a second Liquidation and take this down. Next up, after she sends out Donphan, and I'll go for a Play Rough here. And the reason for this was I was trying to hopefully lower its attack. It goes for a Poison Jab, we survive, but we do get poisoned. So it's not so great. But we have our Mago Berry equipped, so that's going to give us a lot of our life back. We can go for another Liquidation and take down the Donphan. Next up, after this, Dugtrio comes, and I know it's going to go down to an Aqua Jet, so we go take this down as well. And then nextly, she's also got a Camerupt as well, which I know that I'm faster than, so I go for a Liquidation, 4 times super effective. We take this down. And then lastly, she's going to bring out her final Pokemon, Clodsire. Now, Clodsire here has got the ability Water Absorb, so I am going to go make a switch here. And I know it's going for a ground move, so we go switch over into Talonflame. Rika terrestrializes Clodsire, and we dodge the Earthquake that was incoming. From here now, I'll go for 3 sets of acrobatics. We take down the Clodsire and win the fight. So with Rika defeated, we move on to Poppy, the second member of the Elite Four. She's a Steel type trainer. She starts off with a Copper Raja. So I'm going to start off with my Annihilate, and we're going to go get into the fight, and we're going to go for a close combat, and that'll be enough to take this down. For our next Pokemon, Corviknight, I'm going to go make the switch into Belly Bolt, and we're going to take a Brave Bird. It's not going to do too much, which is nice. And from here, I'm going to go use my new move, Parabolic Charge, that I taught from doing the picnic. And what this does is it restores half of my HP from the damage that I took. The next Pokemon that comes out now does no Earthquake, so I make a hard switch here over into Grimmsnarl for this reason. So we get hit by that Earthquake, and I go use Reflect. The next move that Poppy uses is Iron Head, and we look completely safe here, so I decide I'm going to go for a False Surrender. This doesn't kill, it puts it into very low life, but Poppy goes for an Iron Head, and it critical hits us through the Reflect and takes down our Grimmsnarl. From here, I'll go switch over to Talonflame, go for a Flame Charge, take down a Bronzong. And nextly comes out is Magnezone. So I'm going to switch over to Belly Bolt. My switch for this before would have been Grimmsnarl, and I would have set up a light screen of my own, but I can't do that no more. So now I've just got to fight Magnezone with my last Pokemon that can wall it. Because I've noticed that it's going to continue going for Tri-Attack, I'm going to make a switch over into Annihilate, who's part Ghost type now. It goes for a Tri-Attack, it doesn't affect, and we can go take this down with a close combat now that we've broke its sturdy. So we go take this down, and then we're going to make another switch against a Tinkaton. A switch back over into Light. Poppy terrestrializes and goes for a Play Rough, which doesn't do too much damage at all. Also activates our ability, which means we're just going to lay out more damage, especially with the fact that they activate again, and we put Tinkaton down into one shot. And from here they hit us with a Brick Break, and we're going to go finish it off with a second Parabolic Charge this turn. And with that done, that's Poppy defeated. Next up, we get a rematch against Larry, who's now the third leader of the Elite Four. He's also a Flying type trainer now as well. He's going to start off with a Tropius, and we're going to start off with Belly Bolt. So what we're going to do here is, because we're spamming A way too much, we're going to accidentally slack off when we don't need to. So that's a very poor start from us. Next up, they go for a Solar Beam, and it does quite a lot of damage to us as well because of a critical hit. We're going to go for a Parabolic Charge, and that's going to put the Tropius down into very low life. On this next turn, Tropius is going to set up a Sunny Day, and we're going to go finish this off with Thunderbolt. After this, Larry sends out Staraptor. Its ability Intimidate lowers their attack, but that's fine. I'm going to stay in. It goes for a close combat on me, and I'm going to go hit this with a Parabolic Charge after and take this down. The next Pokemon then is Altaria. It hits us with Flamethrower. Again, another Parabolic Charge. We'll put the Altaria into very low life, and we'll restore all of our HP. Hits us with another Flamethrower after. And what we're going to do from here is we're just going to go finish this off. Thunderbolt, taking down the Altaria and putting Larry into his next Pokemon, which is an Oricorio that uses Teeter Dance. Now this was a bit of a problem to us, because for 3 turns in a row now, we got confused. So we were definitely getting very unlucky. We finally snap out of our confusion though, and we go for a parabolic charge, which will take down the Oricorio and give a lot of our life back to us as well. After this, Larry sends out Flamigo, his last Pokemon. He terrestrializes this into a Terra Flying type, and he's going to hit us with a close combat too, which puts us down into our orange life. And now we're going to go use Parabolic Charge, and we're just going to go take this down. And with this done, that's Larry defeated. Moving us on into Hassel, the 4th member of the Elite Four. But before we go get into that fight, I teach Ice Spinner to Azumarill, and now we go get into it. So firstly, he sends out Noivern. I'm going to send out Azumarill, and Azumarill here is going to take a Super Fang, which is going to take away half of our HP. And then I'm going to go for an Ice Spinner and take this down. His next Pokemon then is Dragouge. So we're going to make a switch here over into Annihilate. And he's going to go for a Sludge Bomb, which won't do much damage due to not being very effective. And from here, I'm going to go for a Stomping Tantrum. Put the Dragouge into very low life. Take a Dragon Pulse after, which also won't do too much. And we go finish this off with his Shadow Punch. Flapple comes out next, and because of its flying type attacks, I go make a switch back over into Belly Bolt. And it actually decides to go for Leech Seed as well, which we do avoid. From here though, it starts hitting us with some attacks like Dragon Rush, and we're just hitting it back with Parabolic Charge after and getting most of our HP restored. On this turn as well, it actually decides that it wants to miss Dragon Rush, which helps us massively. We set up a Slack Off and get most of our life back, and then it hits us with Leech Seed before we go finish this off with a Thunderbolt. The Leech Seed actually makes this pretty tough because I didn't want to switch out against the Haxorus as well. So every turn the Haxorus was restoring a lot of its HP. We do knock it down to low life though, but because we start going into a lowish life as well, I have to start using Slack Off, which means it's just going to keep restoring more and more life and going to make this more and more harder for us. So it hits me with a Dragon Claw. It's been a few turns since I've last used an electric attack. So now, when we go for Thunderbolt, this will be enough to go take down the Haxorus. And now we're up against the last Pokemon, Baxcalibur. And we're going to go make a switch now over into our Azumarill because it's going to go for Glavy Rush, which is a Dragon type attack and does not affect the Azumarill. So we go make the hard switch. And this is where I probably made one of the biggest mistakes of the run here. I decide for some reason it's a good idea to also terrestrialize. So when he goes to Icicle Crash here, he puts us into very low life. That could have killed us. It really could have. I got pretty lucky there. If I was still a Water Fairy type, that would have not done nearly as much damage. But then when we go for the Play Rough, we can take down the Baxcalibur and defeat Hassel. And with Hassel defeated, we're now moving on to top champion Geeta. So she's going to start off by sending out Esperanza, and I've got to start off by sending out Light. Now this is a 6v5 because we lost Grimmsnarl earlier. It goes for a Lumina Crash, and it actually lowers our special defense as well, which sucks. But because we go for Parabolic Charge, after having our ability activate, we can take Esperanza down with a one-shot. And then they send out their second Pokemon, which is Avalugg. Now, Avalugg here, I maybe could have killed this, but I didn't want to risk it. So I'm going to make a switch over into Talonflame, and we dodge an Earthquake. From here, then I'm going to go for a Flame Charge. It actually does very little damage due to Avalugg's crazy defense. Then Avalugg also hits us back with an Avalanche too, and Avalanche puts us down into very concerning life, so I do have to go make a switch, and I'm going to make a switch over into Chonky. He hits us with another Avalanche, but thankfully we survive to a point where we can take another hit and we go for a Yawn. But with this though, we know he's going for a Body Press, so we sack off Chonky to get the Yawn. So my idea from now was I was going to go over into Talonflame, and then I was going to instantly switch over into Belly Bolt to bait Avalanche, which isn't going to do too much damage. It's also going to charge our ability, and Avalugg is now going to finally fall asleep as well. So from here he's no longer a threat. I'm going to go for a Parabolic Charge safely, and I'm going to go take this down. So the next Pokemon Geeta is going to bring out his King Gambit. We're going to get hit by Koto Cleave, and then we're going to go return and move back with Parabolic Charge and restore most of our HP. From here then they're going to go for another Koto Cleave, and we're going to go finish this off with a Parabolic Charge. The next Pokemon they send out then is Go-Goat. Now Go-Goat was a bit of an issue for us honestly, because it starts using Bulk Up, making itself a bit of a problem. And the reason this was still a problem after using this was, firstly our electric attacks aren't very effective, and after using Bulk Up twice it starts also going for Horn Leech as well, which is going to restore a proportion of its life back every time it hits us. Thankfully though, a massive critical hit from Belly Bolt puts the Go-Goat to low life, which helps us massively. And because of that critical hit, we can actually stay in for another Horn Leech. So I stay in, and then on this turn we go for another Parabolic Charge, but its recovery from Horn Leech keeps it a tiniest bit above from fainting. Now I'm stuck with a choice because I possibly won't survive another Horn Leech, or I will very riskily. So I gotta make a switch over into Spitfire. He goes for a Horn Leech, which is 4 times not very effective, and he gets inflicted by our Flame Body, which keeps him at very low life. With the low life that he's got, I can go for a quick attack and take down Geeta's Go-Goat. After this I switch out and I send in my Zoom Rule for the Veluza, and she hits me with an Aqua Jet trying to get revenge kill that doesn't work. Now I'm stuck with a couple options here, but what I decided is I'm going to go for a Belly Drum, which was quite risky actually because it could have went for Psychic Fangs and got a critical hit, but because it didn't see a kill, it didn't go for it, and it continued to use Ice Fang. I was still worried because I didn't want to go get into a point where Psychic Fangs would kill me. But what I decided was I was going to go for an Aqua Jet, because if it does go for it, then Azuma has been a good sack. And thankfully it goes for another Ice Fang, so we can go take this down with Aqua Jet again after. And then she sends out her last Pokemon, which is Glamora. She's going to Terrestrialize this into a Pterodactyl. And we're going to go for another Aqua Jet here at +6. Take down the Glamora. And that's top champion Geeta defeated. So after losing both Grimmsnarl and Chonky in the Elite Four, it's time to go back to shiny hunting. And after the map for quite a while, I end up encountering this shiny Makuhita. So I go capture this. And with some EXP candy that I got from raids, we go evolve our Rookie D into a Corvisquire. And we also then go evolve this into a Corviknight. Also that Makuhita that we caught a little bit earlier as well, we also go evolve this into a Hariyama. And they both come join the team. Now what I need to do to prepare for my last few final battles is buy a couple items for my Pokemon, getting myself Drain Punch and teaching it to Hariyama. Before then going and getting into the fight with Arven. Arven here starts off with his Greedent, and what I'm going to do is start off with Hariyama. I'm going to fake out on the first turn, and then I'm going to go for a Belly Drum as well. Put myself to +6 attack, take a bit of damage from Psychic Fangs. And then I'm going to start sweeping, so I'll go for a Drain Punch, take down the Greedent, and regain quite a lot of my HP. His next Pokemon after Squivillon goes for a Fire Blast and puts me down to low HP once again, but I go for another Drain Punch. We take this down and recover, and this is where Arven begins to throw. He nextly brings out Toadstool, and we go take this down with a Drain Punch. I go put myself back up to much higher life now. Garganacl comes out next, and we go hit this with another Drain Punch too, and put myself back up to full life. As then he brings out Cloyster, which is going to hit me 5 times with Icicle Spear, and then we're also going to go take this down with a Drain Punch too. And then now lastly he's going to bring out his final Pokemon, which is Mabostiff. He's going to Terrestrialize this into a Pterodactyl. It's going to go for a Fire Fang, it won't do too much. We hit with a Drain Punch, take it down with a one shot, and with this done the Path of Legends is complete. But that's not it for us though, because we still need to do some more. So the next battle I have to do now is against Champion Nemona, where she's going to send out a Lycanroc and I'm going to send out Hariyama. So against a Lycanroc I'm going to immediately Belly Drum, put myself to +6. Nemona's going to set up a Stealth Rock, and then she's going to hit us with a Drill Run as well, which won't do way too much. We hit Lycanroc with a Drain Punch, take this down, restore quite a bit of our life, and then Pawmot comes out next as well. And after making a risky move and letting it hit me with Double Shock, I survive, go for another Drain Punch, and we take down the Pawmot. The next Pokemon after is Dunsparce, and from this point she's through. I go for a Drain Punch, take this down, and restore most of my life back. The next Pokemon Offworm hits me with an Iron Tail, it doesn't do too much. Hit this with a Drain Punch, and again restore most of my life back. It's pretty much a repeat of what happened against Arven. Hariyama is literally carrying me for these fights. Next event, Goodra comes, hits me with an Ice Beam, and again +6 Drain Punch. Goodra ain't going to survive. We go take this down, restore our HP back up to maximum, and then she sends out her last Pokemon, Quaquaval, which she Terrestrializes into a Terra Water type again. I also Terrestrialize myself into a Terra Fighting type on Hariyama. So she hits me with an Aerial Ace. It does quite a bit of damage, but it's fine because I'm going to go hit her back with a real hard hit after. Drain Punch with Quaquaval. We go take this down with a one shot, and we defeat Nemona for the last time. And with Nemona defeated, that also gives us Victory Road complete. With all this completed now, we're going to start heading off to Area 0. We actually end up coming across another Chunky. So I go capture this, but we're not really allowed repeated Pokemon. So he's just going to go rest in the peace here. We meet up with Arvin at Area 0 and we head inside for the way home. Now for Area 0 here, we're going to go ride Miraidon to get down to the bottom. And once at the bottom, we're set with a couple challenges, but it's nothing too extreme. To begin with, we have to take on little Pokemon outside the bases of what we have to deactivate. In a double battle as well, so me and Nemona versus the Glamora. They didn't even need me for this fight. And basically, once we get into the bases, we just have to go press these buttons and disable the locks. We do this in all 4 bases pretty much, and then we get to the bottom, where we go place a book to initiate the emergency shutdown, where we're now going to have to go get into our final fight of the run against Toro. So Toro goes and sends out Iron Moth. And I'm going to start off here with Hariyama. So against the Iron Moth to begin with, I'm going to start off with a Fake Out. And then on the next turn after it uses a Fiery Dance, I'm going to go hit this with a Headlong Rush and take this down. The next Pokemon that comes out is Iron Bundle. It goes and uses Snowscape. And then I go hit this with a Drain Punch. It survives this on low HP, but I do recover quite a lot of life. On this next turn, Toro must have had Stick Drift like I have sometimes. And use Snowscape again, so we go hit this with a Drain Punch and we can take it down freely. Next up then we get Iron Jugulis coming out, and it goes through a Flamethrower on Hariyama as well, which does quite a good bit of damage. I hit this with a Drain Punch and restore quite a bit back though as well. Now I really weren't thinking at this point, but it goes for an Air Slash there, and we actually end up losing Hariyama. He's not as godly as we thought, so RIP. With this we go make a switch over into Belly Bolt, take a Dark Pulse, and then we go take this down with a Parabolic Charge. The next Pokemon he starts sending out then is Iron Thorns, which is an electric rock type. So we start going for Chilling Water. Chilling Water is going to help a lot as well, because every time we use it, it's going to lower the attack stat of the opposing Pokemon too. He does hit us with an Earthquake though, which does a lot of damage to begin with. But we are fine staying for the next turn because of Chilling Water, which lets us safely set up a Slack Off. And this is sort of what we're just going to repeat for a while. We're going to keep putting ourselves into a position where we're safe to go for a Chilling Water, hit the Tyranitar. Other than that, we're just going to be using Slack Off to keep ourselves safe. And eventually this strat will be enough to take down Iron Thorns, as he then sends out his next Pokemon, Iron Hands. Now Iron Hands here was going to be the same thing. I was going to hit this with a bunch of Chilling Waters to lower its attack. I was going to keep using Slack Off every turn I could while I still had some PP left in it. I wanted to keep myself with as much HP as possible for when Iron Valiant come, and I also wanted to take this down with water moves only as well. So when Iron Valiant comes, I can one-shot it with an electric attack as well. And this plan was going great too. Iron Hands doing barely any damage to us with Drain Punch, meaning it's barely getting any recovery at all, as we knock it down into very low life. And it's on this turn now where I decide I'm going to use my last Slack Off, so I can get myself to full HP for when I'm against the Iron Valiant, because I plan to take Iron Hands down on the next turn. And out of nowhere now, Iron Hands decides that he wants to get a gigantic critical hit on us and ruin that entire plan. So now I've just got to go take down Iron Hands. I put him down into very low life, and then on the next turn I go use one more Chilling Water when you take this down. And now we're all the way down up against Toro's last Pokemon, which is Iron Valiant. What I'm going to do straight away is Terrestrialize, Belly Bolt, and try and tank this hit. He goes for a Spirit Break. It takes away quite a bit of our life and also makes our special attack fall. But either way, we've definitely got a gigantic boost in our next electric attack. We go for a Parabolic Charge, and we take down Iron Valiant with a one-shot and win the fight. And with that done, we've defeated the challenge and we've defeated the run. We've just got one last little fight we got to do before we can beat the actual game. But for the challenge part of things, we've did it. We just need to have one quick last battle. My Miraidon versus their Miraidon. And it's a fight that you are guaranteed to win as well. We're going to Terrestrialize, go for a super effective Terra Blast, take down Miraidon, the Guardian of Paradise, and finish the game. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I would love it if you could show a bit of love and support on the comments and ratings. Also guys, if you're new to the channel and find that you've enjoyed the video and like to see more content like this, don't forget to smash that big red button. And yeah, it's been Ant, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace out guys.